Are you looking to accelerate your career either as a cloud architect, enterprise architect, or an account manager? If so, this video is for you. Hi, my name is Michael Gibbs, and I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects, and we're an organization dedicated towards building high-performance cloud computing and tech careers. I've been working in technology for over 25 years, and I've been mentoring or coaching others for 2 decades now. Today, we're going to talk about business acumen skills for technology professionals. See, if you're a cloud architect or an enterprise architect or a sales rep, you are going to be constantly dealing with customers. You're going to have to consult with them, you're going to have to ask their business, their legal, their technical requirements, and you're going to have to design a solution for them, and then you're going to have to convince that customer that solution is in their best interest. And this will be completely impossible if you don't speak the same language as the executive team as well as the engineering team. See, these architecture positions are consultative and they're a hybrid between an executive and an engineer. So you have to speak both languages. So today, when we talk about cloud architect business acumen or enterprise architect business acumen, even account manager business acumen, it's to help you succeed in these jobs. So we're going to begin with the CEO. And what is the CEO's job? The CEO, or the Chief Executive Officer, is the person that's responsible for running the organization. Now, if it's a publicly traded company, meaning they're available on the stock market, the CEO's primary job is to increase shareholder value. What does that mean? It means make the stock price go up. And how does an organization make the stock price go up? They increase profitability, which means either increasing sales or decreasing expenses. Pretty much that's how an organization makes the stock price go up. Or they could pay dividends, but that's another story, by increasing the financial profitability returns that are given to the investors, people who hold the stock. So the CEO is responsible for increasing shareholder value. So what does that all mean? They're responsible for growing the business. This means increasing sales or revenue. And it also means, when possible, to decrease expenses, because that's how you promote profitability. The CEO creates the vision and the strategy for the organization, and the CEO leverages all the people on the team as well as their partners, which could be technology partners, it could be organizations, it could be lots of different organizations, to execute on their mission. That is the CEO's job. Set the strategy, grow the business. Now you know what the CEO does, let's talk about the CFO. The Chief Financial Officer manages all financial aspects of the company. So basically, they work for the CEO and they help them plan, budget, and forecast revenue, expenses, and anything that would be part of the organization's financial performance. That's what the CFOs do. The CFOs are the gateway to money. So if you're in a sales process, the CFO is going to be involved somewhere along the line, so you must be able to speak business acumen, ROI modeling, and other things necessary for both the CEO and the CFO, and we'll teach you later how to do that. Now let's talk about the Chief Information Officer. So if you're a cloud architect, or you're an enterprise architect, or even an account manager, you're going to be spending a lot of time with the Chief Information Officer. The Chief Information Officer works for the CEO, and they help the CEO execute their strategy through the use of information technology. So basically, this is going to be your peer that you're going to be working with in the organization. So you're going to spend a lot of time with the CIO. So what does the CIO care about? They care about helping the CEO execute their mission through IT. So you're going to be a strategic advisor. You're going to be working with the CIO to let them know of new emerging technologies that can improve their business. You're going to let them know of new offerings that you have, and you're going to show them how technology can help them meet their goals to make the CEO happy by executing the CEO's vision. So now you kind of know the main things that the CIO, CEO, and CFO do, which is CXO relevance. You've got to be able to speak to them in their language. Now, let's talk about some more fun business acumen for cloud architects or enterprise architects. Let's talk about how organizations become profitable. You can increase your sales. That's like getting a raise at work. Now, if you get a raise at work, but your expenses go up, you have less money. Well, same thing for organization. If they spend a lot of money to sell, they might actually sell more but lose money. So the way organizations become profitable is they grow their sales, they decrease their ongoing expenses, like operational expenses, or they decrease the things they purchase. They reduce the amount of travel people do. Ding, 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 you're in tech, you can probably reduce travel and still increase communication, collaboration skills, and lots of other things. So in tech, you have a lot of ability to kind of help these things. And that's what makes you such a great strategic advisor. Remember, the cloud architect, enterprise architect, even the account manager are a strategic advisor. And with that, you must know business acumen. Because you need to know business acumen and you're going to meet with clients, you have to understand their business. Now, your clients will tell you a lot about their business if you ask them, but you can find out a lot on your own before you get there. For organizations that are publicly traded, and many of these organizations that are going to be looking for these big cloud migrations are publicly traded, they have public financial statements. So go read them. In this way, when you meet with the clients, you're going to be very prepared. But how do you read them? Well, let's talk briefly and give you the 5-minute overview of how to review a financial statement. When you look at a financial statement, there's a few things that are really important for you to see. These are important metrics. The first is revenue. What is revenue? Total sales. You're going to see it at the top line. It's the total sales of all goods and services. That's revenue. But revenue is not profit. So we're going to look at a couple of kinds of profit. The first profit we're going to look at is gross profit, which is really just total sales minus the cost of goods sold. That's your gross profit. But that's not full profit. That's gross profit. So next we'll talk about operating profit. So what is operating profit? You take the gross profit and you just subtract operating expenses. And then lastly, we'll talk about what true profit is, or net profit. And this is basically where you take the operating income, subtract out the operating expenses, taxes and interest, and that's your real profit or net income. So let's briefly talk about it one more time. Revenue, total sales. Gross profit, total sales minus the cost of the goods that you sold. Operating profit, gross profit minus operating expenses, and net profit is your operating income minus your operating expenses minus your taxes and interest. As architects, we're going to be designing systems, and we're going to have to show organizations that it's worth purchasing or investing in these systems. Businesses have two kinds of expenses. They have capital expenses and operational expenses. Capital expenses are things that an organization purchases: plant, property, equipment, servers, routers, switches, firewalls, tech stuff. Operational expenses are ongoing monthly expenses like employees, travel, leases, electric bills, that kind of thing. So let's look what happens in technology. It used to be that when an organization would invest in technology, they would spend a lot on servers, hardware, network gear, security gear. But all that's changed with the cloud. So this big capital expenses that organizations have in a traditional environment gets shifted to operational expenses or ongoing expenses. Is that better for the organization? Maybe, maybe not. It's you as the cloud architect to work with the organization to help them do the ROI modeling to determine what the best solution is. But for argument's sake, let's say the cloud is cheaper. Let's say the cloud is cheaper. We're going to be thrilled with that solution and work with it for right now. But when it comes to reality, you're going to have to do this ROI modeling, or someone from your team is for the customer. Now that you understand these components, let's talk about why organizations invest in tech. They're not like us. As cloud architects, we love tech. Oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. They don't buy tech because they want tech. In fact, organizations buy tech for the following reasons. It can provide a competitive advantage. It can improve employee productivity, meaning employees can do more than they could without the tech. It can enable a business to have new service offerings. It can help their people collaborate better to design better things or spend less money on travel. Tech can really reduce costs in a lot of ways. It can get you closer to your customers, which is really important. And with data science and analytics tools, tech can help in businesses make better decisions, which can increase their sales or reduce their expenses. So organizations invest in tech for a competitive advantage, not because they like tech. So when you're presenting your solutions as a cloud architect, enterprise architect, or an account manager, you must show the organization how your tech is going to solve these problems. Typically speaking, we'll give you the non-technical way to deal with the customers, and then the technical way, meaning the business acumen way. First and foremost, organizations typically invest in tech for the following reasons. Tech can make them better, faster, or cheaper. If you can make an organization better, faster, or cheaper with tech, all with a single thing, the customer will almost always adopt your solution. Now, if you can get your customer 2 out of the 3 better, faster, or cheaper things, they will in most cases actually adopt your solution. And the only time an organization is ever going to adopt your situation, if it only has one of those 3, is if it's a disruptive solution. Some kind of solution that changes life as the way we know it. In that, any one of those 3 will actually work. But as a rule, your solution or your architecture will work if it makes things better, faster, and cheaper. Always, the customer will always want that. If it does 2 out of the 3 things, most of the time your customer will want it. And if it only does 1 out of those 3 things, they will only want it unless it gives your customer some special competitive advantage. Because of this, you're going to have to actually show the organization with some type of financial metrics that you're making an impact on their business. And how are you going to do this? You're going to do ROI modeling, or return on investment modeling. You're going to have to show the organization that the time they spend here and the money they spend here is worth it. Because remember, organizations can invest their money in multiple places, and they need to invest their money in the place that's going to give them the best return. Look at it this way. Let's say, for example, I invest $100 million in technology and it produces $1 billion of benefit for the organization. That sounds good, But what if that $100 million invested in technology could be invested somewhere else and create $10 billion in sales? Well, an organization is not going to invest in tech. They're going to invest in something else. And you have to understand that and be able to show that to the organization. And that's why Cloud Architect Business Acumen or Enterprise Architect Business Acumen or Account Manager Business Acumen is so critical. So now that you understand that, let's talk about calculating the ROI modeling. First and foremost, you're going to need to do some good ROI modeling. You're going to have to look at the problem your solution is solving. Does it save people hours? And if so, how many hours is it going to save? Does it increase sales by providing a new channel? What does that equate to? So you have to make some estimates based on some things that you'll plan, and you'll have to share your assumptions with the customers on how you came to these calculations. The next thing you need to do is you need to look at the chances of your project actually being successful. So let's say you've got a $10 million project and it's supposed to produce a $10 million opportunity for the customer, and it only costs $1 million of tech. But it's a $10 million product. It should provide an organization $10 million of value if it works. But you think there's only a 3/4 chance of this actually working. So the way you would calculate the expected value of an opportunity is you would take 3/4 or 75% chance of the $10 million solution working, and you would net out $7.5 million. So now you know. Now, if the cost of technology is $1 million and the net result based on the 75% profitability of the $10 million outcome occurring gives you $7.5 million, it looks like a great investment in technology. It looks like it's going to return 7.5 times. Now, what is the organization going to do? They're going to say, well, if I invested this money elsewhere, this $1 million, will I get more return than $7.5 million or less return? Now, if they would get more return, the organization will not invest in technology unless they have to, if it's critical to the business or it's required by a regulatory environment. Now, if your technology solution produces a better value than another investment, your customers will constantly adopt it. And that's why as a cloud architect or an enterprise architect or even an account manager, you must be able to show the value of your solution. Nobody's going to buy your solution because it's a solution. They're going to buy your solution because it's going to solve a problem. And how do you show them it's going to solve a problem? You present it to them with ROI modeling. The other part of the ROI modeling is how does an organization buy tech? Now, typically speaking, they don't usually pay cash. They actually finance it. So now in the cloud, there's not much to purchase. They're going to be just operational expenses. But if you're an architect, like an enterprise architect or a cloud architect, what if your solution involves purchasing things for the data center and then the cloud? Well, there's financing involved. So when you actually do your ROI modeling, you're doing it a little bit differently. You're looking at the weighted average cost of capital, which is how much an organization actually pays in terms of interest and financing for something compared to the benefit that's received. So same process as before, but let's say a solution, the solution is $50 million a month, that it saves the customer $200 million a month. If that's the case, it's probably a good investment for the customer, especially with finance debt. And that way, you understand how these things work. So let's talk about what we talked today. We talked about business acumen for the cloud architect community, for the enterprise architect community, and for the account manager community. Why is it so essential? If you're going to speak to the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, you've got to be relevant, and you've got to communicate to them in their language. You now know what the CEO, CFO, CIO care about. You now know how to communicate with them. You now know how to perform ROI modeling, and now you've increased your business acumen. Thank you so much for watching this video on business acumen for technology professionals like cloud architects, enterprise architects, and account managers. Let me tell you about some things we do for the cloud architect community. On every Monday and every Friday, we have a completely free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. And on this webinar, we tell you everything you need to do to get hired. Come join us. It's completely free. We do it on Monday and Thursday. Now, every Tuesday, we have this really fun Cloud Architect Experience Challenge. And we invite people from all over around the world to join us on Zoom. The students that will come in will basically interview me, and I will present a business situation and a challenge. And the students, after they interview me, will design a cloud architecture for at least 2 clouds. And it will be to solve all of my business problems. It'll be a chance to see if you're ready to get hired. And if not, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to be done and ready and get hired, because getting hired is essential. The next thing that we try and do is every Wednesday, we try to do a free, completely live Cloud Architect Career Question and Answer session where I come on for 1 to 3 hours, as much time as I have, and you ask any Cloud Architect Career questions you have, and we answer them for you real time, because we want to make sure that you get to your career goals. Now, we provide free AWS certification training. I'll leave the links in the description below. We have a completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate ebook and course, completely free. We have a completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional course. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below. And we have filmed a live, completely free AWS Advanced Networking course. We're actually doing this on the week of July 13th. And after this, it'll be available on YouTube. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below. It's taught by me. I've been working in networking for over 25 years. I'm one of the first Cisco certified internet experts, and I love discussing networking. So I'll leave the link for that free AWS Advanced Networking course below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so flattered and honored to be part of this Cloud Architect community and be able to present videos to you every week and answer people's questions, and I'm so grateful for this. I will see you very soon.